Yo, man, it's time.
You're like 5 minutes.
Today we're here to talk about heuristics. Heuristics is a fancy way of saying a way that people try to solve a problem. An example of a heuristic is trial and error. It's simply the process one uses to solve a problem for themselves in their mind.
There are 3 types of biases: representativeness, adjustment and anchoring, and availability. To further explain this, I'm going to pay a visit to my longtime friend and roommate, Ilhan Rashid. Representativeness involves someone figuring something out by what something represents to them. Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, Manny? How you
This
doing?
is my roommate, Ilhan Rashid, here at Drexel. He is an electrical engineer. And today, Ilhan, I have a couple questions about probability for you.
Okay.
So, first question. In a room of 10 individuals, 70% of them are lawyers and 30% of them are engineers.
Okay.
I'm going to describe an individual to you, and I want you to tell me whether you think they are a lawyer or an engineer. So let's say this individual's name is Dick. Dick is 30 years old. He lives alone. He has friends, but he doesn't really hang out with his friends too often. He likes to live by himself. He doesn't really interact with too many other people. And he's a little bit estranged from his family. Do you think Dick is an engineer or a lawyer?
I'm gonna say engineer.
Ilhan gave the answer that most people would give. Instead of analyzing the initial information that 70% of the people in the problem was said to be lawyers, he immediately jumped to the conclusion that he was an engineer solely based on the description that was given about him. This is referred to as insensitivity to prior probability.
A second question for you, Ilhan. Let's say that there's a small town.
Okay.
Right? And in this small town, there are 2 hospitals, a larger hospital and a smaller hospital. Statistics say that 50% of babies born are boys and 50% are girls. The hospital records that 60% of the babies born at a particular point in time are boys. What are the odds that the larger hospital records this more times than the smaller hospital?
What are the odds? The larger one records it more than the smaller one?
Yes.
I'd say it's about the same as the smaller one.
Again, Ilhan gave the answer that most people would give. Ilhan stated that the smaller hospital and the larger hospital had about the same chance of holding the same amount of baby boys. However, statistics show that the larger hospital has a smaller chance of diverting away from the 50% mark because they hold more babies. In other words, if the small hospital had a population of 10 and the larger hospital had a population of 100, it would be easier for the small hospital to get 6 out of 10 than the larger hospital to get 60 out of 10. This is because it's easier to get 1 as opposed to 10. Not only engineers, like in our first problem, face biases on a regular basis. People use stereotypes, which is a form of a heuristic, to try and generalize and create images about people or things that they don't know anything about.
Initially, I made plans to meet up with a friend of mine, Casey Carroll, who is a monster dunker and happens to be Caucasian. However, I received news that he has a herniated disc in his back and was told by his trainer that he cannot partake in extraneous activities. Casey did, however, send me this awesome video of him dancing. Luckily, after some phone calls though, I was able to retrieve this video of Jacob Tucker, a 5'11" Caucasian male with a 50-inch vertical. So in case you were wondering, yes, white man can jump and white men do have rhythm.
Stereotyping is a type of bias that can be labeled as illusion to validity. If I were to state that someone was an Asian and also a dedicated Christian, would you be able to guess from that description that that individual played in the NBA? In 2012, Jeremy Lin scored 38 points in the NBA to become one of the most worldwide known players. Speaking of Asian basketball players, I decided to pay another one of my roommates a visit.
Yeah, you trying to go play ball?
Sure.
Word. On our way to the gym, my roommate John and I placed a bet on who was the better shooter. The loser would have to get the other person a sandwich that day. My roommate John Tan from Singapore, and we're about to perform an experiment to see who is better in a game of pig.
We obviously know who will win.
An unfortunate way to lose, but I could surely be a man and say that my roommate John is definitely a superior shooter. And I'll think about getting you that sandwich. After a quick cool off, I had some other questions for John. So John, did you ever have a student teacher in high school or maybe some point?
Yeah, I had one in high school.
From their performance, do you think they went on to become a successful teacher or maybe subpar if they didn't do too well with you guys?
Probably not.
Probably not. They didn't seem too comfortable with you guys?
Yeah, they seemed really nervous. I honestly wouldn't really want to have that person as a teacher.
Okay.
Without assessing the fact that it was the student teacher's first time and almost all new teachers have a difficult time, John drew the conclusion that the teacher probably did not become a very good teacher in the end. This is called insensitivity to predictability. Almost all new learners go through a learning curve, or in other words, they learn slowly at first, and as they get more advanced, they learn a little bit more quickly as time progresses. It can be seen in children as they first learn math. In the beginning, it can be difficult for them to understand the concept of addition and subtraction, but once they learn this, they go on to more complex problems that incorporate these things that they found a little bit difficult to master at first.
I'm here at Sunday school with...
I'm Wokisha.
Say your real names. I don't have time for this.
I'm Wokisha.
Say your real names. Oh my God. Actually, all right. If you're gonna say that, say it loud, but look at the camera. You can say that. I don't even care. Everybody else say their real name. You say your real. Don't change it up on me. I don't have time. Say your real names. You can say whatever you want to say, but look at the camera when you say it. All right. So I'm here at Sunday school with
Swagalicious, Abigail, Wolford, Emma.
I have a couple questions for you guys today.
Yay!
Have you guys done your times tables yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's not the first question I'm going to do, but second question is, what do you guys think is going to happen if you flip a coin? You get heads or tails, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some flashcards, and I want you to tell me which scenario you think is more likely to occur or to happen. So,
Easy.
I have 3 flashcards here.
I think there's room outside. Running.
Oh my God. First question involves flipping a coin. You guys know if you flip a coin, you either get heads or tails, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 different scenarios, and I want you to tell me which you think is more likely to happen or to occur. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 flashcards. You can pass them around.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys saw the outcomes, right? One of them is all tails. The other is all heads. And the other is tails, heads, tails. Which one do you guys think is more likely to happen? I'm going to ask you one at a time. Which one do you think would happen?
Tails.
All tails? What do you think would happen?
THT.
What do you think would happen?
Heads.
All heads? And what do you think would happen?
I'm thinking all heads.
All heads? All right.
Matter of fact, tails, heads, tails.
You think tails, heads, tails? You change your mind? It doesn't matter if you have the same answer.
I'll stick with mine.
One of the kids changed their minds. You can see that 2 out of 4 of the kids believed that tails, heads, tails was more likely to occur. Statistics show that when you flip a coin, there's a 50% chance of you getting tails or heads. So in actuality, all 3 of the outcomes are equally likely to happen. The fact that we do not believe something will happen over and over and over again is called misconception of chance. A study was done on flight training. Pilots that did well on one test and received praise generally didn't do well on their next test. In comparison, pilots that didn't do well and were reprimanded generally did a lot better on their second test.
All done some sort of math, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely? All right, that's great. So I'm going to show you 2 flashcards, and I want you to give me 2 guesses.
Okay.
And then I'm going to move on one person at a time. All right, okay. So how much do you think this will come out to be?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
No.
You saw it. You see it?
Uh-huh.
All right, how much is it?
It is
Give me a guess.
720.
Okay. And then
Yep.
how much do you think this would be?
62.
62?
Yeah.
Okay. How much do you think this number would be?
I think it's 65.
65? And how much do you think this would be?
Same thing.
Same thing?
Well, close to it.
Close to it? A little bit less or more?
I can't answer that.
You can't answer that? Okay. How much do you think this number would be?
Did you
Just a
glasses
guess.
pay tag? 500.
500? And then how about this one?
605.
605? Okay. How much do you think this number would be?
525.
And then how about this one?
700. Stop
700?
talking.
Okay.
Chose the product of the numbers ascending upwards to be smaller than the problem of the numbers descendant. In actuality, this problem equated to 640. In comparison, this problem equated to 2,205. It's called insufficient adjustment. It's easier to imagine that the sequence of the higher figures would result in a higher number. Finally, I want to discuss availability. Availability is pretty much a way we draw conclusions based on knowledge that we already have or can imagine. To discuss availability, I decided to meet up with 2 Drexel basketball players, Kasembe and Tavon.
All right, so I know what your grade point average is, but I'm not gonna tell Kaz just yet. Kaz, if Tavon came up to you and said he got a 3.5 this term, would you believe him or would you have some questions in your mind?
I definitely would have some questions in my mind. Like, I mean, when you have a 3.5, like especially like a 3.5 and up or anything like that, you're very academically sound.
Okay.
And I'm not saying Tavon's not academically sound, but like you're a stellar student with a 3.5, and like, I mean, I would be happy. I would be like if I found out it was true, but I definitely would question it at first. I'd be like I would ask a few questions like, what classes were you taking, or like, let me see for myself.
Okay. And would you say this is primarily because you've known him for 3 years and you know his personality and you guys are friends? So maybe in the back of your mind you have some general questions just because you know him a little bit. You already have something in your mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I didn't inform Kazembe about Tavon's results, but before the interview started, Tavon told me that he received a 3.5 this term. That's pretty impressive for a Drexel student.
You guys travel a lot. Tavon, if somebody told you guys you were going to California, you know, describe to me what you think it would be like. Maybe warm, you know,
Very warm.
What would you be thinking?
Very warm, very sunny. I would think we're going to like the beach, something like that.
The beach, something, okay.
Something near the beach, maybe.
So, when you guys went to California, I mean, I can imagine it was a nice trip, but do you think that it was what you had in your mind or what you imagined before you got there?
Yeah, I knew we weren't going to like Compton or anything like that. We weren't going out there, but I knew where we were going was gonna be nice because California is a nice place to go. So
Okay.
I knew it was gonna be crazy.
Okay.
Because Tavon imagined what he knew about California already, he perceived California to be a great place to visit, although not all of California is that great to visit. This is known as biases of imaginability.
Next, I met up with a friend of mine to ask her a few questions. My friend Joanne Pang, we're here to explain a little bit more about heuristics. So I have a question for you, Joanne.
Yeah.
You tend to go out, you know, on the weekends occasionally, right? And I would say, you know, you're an attractive female.
Thank
so
you.
I'm pretty sure guys approach you, you know, when you go to the bars or, you know, maybe you go clubbing. So if a guy walks up to you, right, and he's not dressed too well, and his teeth look a little crooked, you know, you might be a little bit reluctant to give him your number, right? You know, why would you say that?
Because if he can't take care of himself, how can he take care of me?
Okay, so, you know, it gives you the impression that he can't really take care of himself. So if a well-dressed guy walks up to you, right, with a nice smile, you know, you're probably a little bit more open to giving him your number, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so my mom says I have a nice smile, but, you know, do you think I'm dressed well enough to go out and get somebody's number?
Yeah, I mean, your shoes are nice.
There you have it, folks.
Called illusory correlation. From the illusion that she gets from a guy, she's able to decide whether or not she wants to give them her number. I think I learned a thing or two about how to get some numbers today. So, here's what you should absolutely take away from this video. Heuristic.
Heuristics.
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 Heuristic is a way or a process of which one uses to learn something for themselves. Next, there are 3 types of biases when people try and use heuristics to figure things out. Biases include representativeness, adjusting and anchoring. Representativeness includes someone using the process of what something represents to them to come up with a conclusion. For example, stereotyping. Adjustment and anchoring is a process that one usually uses when they're trying to solve a math problem. They generally go through the process of using one base or something that they can imagine to try and draw a conclusion of the problem. Finally, availability. Availability is the process that one uses when they go through the library in their own mind to draw a conclusion. This involves searching their mind for instances or maybe past examples that help them reach a reasonable solution. This video is brought to you by Emmanuel Asiedu and my cinematographer and editor, Kalen Gaston-Smith. Thank you. This was Judgment Under Uncertainty, Heuristics and Biases by Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman.